Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk Politics. We are coming live from the islands of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Let me take this time to welcome my viewers from Grand Turk, Salt Key, South Caicos, Middle Caicos, North Caicos, and indeed right here in the island of Providenciales. Let me also take this time to welcome our global viewers, Turks Islanders residing over in the Bahamas, in the US, in Canada, and London, and indeed in the rest of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We have so many things that are facing us in this country. And tonight I am proud to have as my guest, he serves as the current appointed member in the House of Parliament here in the Turks and Caicos Islands for the People's Democratic Movement. He has his extensive experience in the matter of finance, as indeed we are facing this hospital issue here in the Turks and Caicos Islands that I have been having for the last few weeks on the show. And tonight I am pleased and proud to have as my guest the Honorable Doug Parnell, Member of Parliament here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Good night, Honorable Parnell.
Good night.
Welcome to Let's Talk Politics.
Thank you for having me on Let's Talk Politics. Mr. Chairman, it's good to be with you. I'm indeed proud to be here with you as well. And I look forward to a very fruitful hour with you, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of some of these issues.
Yes, Honorable Parnell. I'm sure just for our Turks Islanders that reside outside of the Turks and Caicos Islands, tonight I'm sure that they're wondering, why is this hospital deal such a big deal to the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands? Mm-hmm. Can you expound on this situation, and then we'll get back to your press conference of last week where you revealed some explosive document that have caused capture serious fire throughout these Turks and Caicos Islands?
Well, I think what the biggest thing that people are concerned about is that they haven't been told the true story yet by the government of the Turks and Caicos Islands. And if you will take note of the trend and the timeline of this hospital deal, Mr. Chairman, you'll notice that it has moved from one big figure to the next. As I recall now, I think it was when it first began, they were thinking it was around the sum of 50 million. Then in 2006, before general elections, it was 75 million, and they had a groundbreaking ceremony, which I think was a very costly ceremony. They probably spent more on the ceremony than they had actually put in the ground on any of the hospitals at that time. And then much hype, much anticipation, nothing happened. The hospital land stood cleared and vacant for a number of months. We came to the House of Assembly asking about the hospitals. No answers were given that were adequate to describe why no work was ongoing on the projects. So the government delayed one meeting after the next in the House of Assembly, so it was difficult to bring questions to them. And a whole year passed, a whole 18 months then came and went, and still no hospital. So in December, we had a litany of questions, a whole list of questions.
This is in the House of Parliament?
In the House, yes. Okay. In December, when we went to the House and just gave readings, there was a list of questions there. And what we believe in the opposition is that the government, seeing those questions, tried to hurry and rush this deal up because they didn't want to have egg on their face. By the way, it had been 18 months. 18 months. Yeah, so they were cognizant of this. Nothing was going on. Nothing had been done. So people had begun to lose faith in what they had said. And of course, the government want to save face at all costs. They're willing to do whatever and say whatever they can to save face. So they rushed off to England that very weekend after the House of Assembly meeting.
A few days
later, after these questions that we asked, we had to delay those questions until February 11th.
Correct.
But after the meeting in December, these questions were laid and they could see the paper, they could see the questions coming.
Yeah.
They didn't want to let Christmas come without having some sort of news to tell the people.
Correct.
At least this was what our thinking was. There had to be a reason. So then they made this huge announcement. And instead of 75 million, it was 100 million in their press release. And then a few days later, instead of 100 million, it was, and before the end of the year, it was $125 million in another newspaper. So the people, the question you ask about what is really going on with this hospital and why are people so concerned about it is that you cannot tie the government down to a particular sum to say this is what it's going to cost the people of the country.
Well, Honorable Parnell, I know on last week Wednesday during the opposition press conference, you made a statement as it relates to this hospital that has sparked the government after over 18 months, almost 2 years, to come out to the people of this country and to begin to try to say something to us. Can you, just for our global viewers, especially Turks Islanders residing overseas, can you read your statement?
Sure.
And then we'll get to the meat of the response that the government gave, that they took about 4 days to digest what you said and come back to respond. But just for our viewers, can you read that statement and then we will get into the real issue?
Yes, I'll be glad to. Thank you.
Sure.
At the press conference, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition deferred to me for a moment to answer the questions of unresolved matters and unanswered questions surrounding the construction of the 2 new hospitals. And I'm going to read this verbatim. The role of the opposition is multifaceted. One of these responsibilities is to be the watchdog of government and protect the people of the country from waste and keep the government true to its campaign promises. And guide the enactment of laws towards the vision of our party.
Okay.
In keeping with this responsibility, we now announce the need for scrutiny over the much talked about and highly promised hospital project. We have clear evidence that what is being told and sold to the people about the hospital project is highly questionable and may very well be untrue and a total betrayal of the people's trust. While InterHealth Canada has been sold the rights to manage health care for the people of this country for 25 years, what is not known is the total amount the people of this country is indebted for in this scheme. We were told by the government that the hospitals would cost some $125 million, a catastrophically high amount for this project. But we have found that the government of the TCI has signed off on a charge against the land where the hospitals are to be built for an amount of $235 million. Some $110 million above what they have told the people. In response to a parliamentary question, the Minister of Finance said that he knew nothing about it. But here it is. The charge document which shows a $235 million charge against the People's Hospital. We have no choice but to call this the upside down hospital because the hospital debt will be on top of the people's head for decades to come. Let us make it plain. If you borrow $125,000 from First Caribbean Bank to build a house, would you permit the bank to put a lien